Well, hello. This is Rosa RCG Creations. How are you doing? I'm bringing you today a recipe, a cookie recipe. I haven't done sweets in quite some time. Let me angle this a little bit more. But what we're doing today is we're comparing a store purchased, this is Betty Crocker, chocolate chip cookie mix. I've done this many, many times, with our cookbook. Let me get my stuff out of the way here. I had to give myself some room. With my Betty Crocker cookbook. Is there really a taste difference between making cookies from scratch? And there's I'm going to be also doing a follow-up link video where you make a versatile cookie mix that you make and you store it for up to 3 to 4 weeks. Depending on how you store it. So that way you could just make it into peanut butter, make it into chocolate chip, make it into oatmeal. It's just a versatile cookie mix, and that's going to be my next project. Okay, so, but anyway, let's get started because I want to stay within my 15-minute budget I like to give myself. But wanted to give you kind of a heads up. So I got my 2 bowls, 2 spoons, everything. So we do things totally separate. I'm going to do the homemade ones first. And I'll put a link in my other video of why vacuum packing. Here's some sugar. I vacuum packed that in March 5th, 2018. My sugar container is almost empty. Okay, the recipe calls for I gotta get this out of the way. I'm running out of room here. 1/2 cup of granulated sugar. So let me get myself a 1/2 cup. Because I want to be fair. I still got that yucky little cough. Because I want to be fair and be neutral as much as possible between the 2 mixes. Okay? And the store-bought recipe, you only add butter and water to it. Everything else is already in the mix. So that, of course, is convenience, but you've also got the money expense, which you have that also in your store-bought product. But when you buy in bulk, like I do, and you're able to store your sugar in a vacuum seal bag or jars or Mylar bags, whatever you have, you're able to save more money because you've bought in bulk. And I like to just cut just below the seal because I get to reuse the same bag when I buy some. Now I don't use the bags anymore because we're now converted over to the bucket system, the food grade buckets. And look at that. This was made this is vacuum sealed in 2018, 18, 19, 20, 21, 20, 4 years ago. Okay. And I'm going to take that and I'm going to wash it. But look. And if you see that, I've got one, oops, there it is, one little crumb. But the rest of it was pretty smooth and easy. Now, sugar does get hard. I will tell you that, okay? I'm not going to lie. Sugar does get hard on you. So this is going to be my bowl for my homemade recipe. So there's my 1/3 cup. Remember, start with clean table, clean utensils, and feel comfortable in doing what I'm doing here by scraping my excess loose sugar that I spilt. Oh, that needs to go over there with that. And I feel comfortable doing that because I know I'm working with clean utensils. Okay, so that's my first start. Alrighty, next thing we gotta do is we're gonna need to add my book's already paid. I'm actually gonna be going to FedEx and seeing if I can get this into a spiral book. I'm hoping they can do that and still save their entire recipes. 1/2 cup packed brown sugar. 1/2 cup. And packed brown sugar means when you pour your sugar in your measuring container, whatever it is that you're using, or if you do freehand, whatever, is you want to pack it so it's tight. That's what called packed. That's what packed brown sugar means. You want to make sure it's a full solid half cup of brown sugar. See, I'm packing it down. It's a little bit more. Alrighty, so that to me is close enough, and I'm okay. It's sugar, it's a little bit over. We're okay with that. These are cookies. We're going to be cheating on our weight loss program. But then you know what? Life's too short. You do you, and don't worry about what anybody else says. Okay, now I'm already starting to get hot. Okay, got a piece of brown sugar here. I want to get that mixed up in my book. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to mix all your sugars, your margarine, your shortening, your egg, and your vanilla, and then you stir in the remaining ingredients. So there's my 2 sugars, and I personally like to mix it up just to make sure that they get, to me, this makes for better recipes is when you totally mix in between stages of ingredients. So these, this is just 2 cups of sugar, regular granulated sugar and packed brown sugar. Okay. And I've done it the old-fashioned way where you just pour it in there and mix. And I will tell you, there is a taste difference. It definitely tastes so much better if you take the extra few seconds, few minutes, whatever it is, and mix your ingredients before you add another ingredient. Okay, now we're going to add our margarine, shortening. Oh, the margarine is the same as butter. And I already pre-measured, and this, and this. And of course I'll have a pop-up with all the directions and the rest. Pop-up with all the ingredients, and the description box will have the entire ingredients and the entire recipe for both of these mixes, okay? So now we've got the butter. Now we're going to add, almost going to need my readers, but not yet. 1/3 cup of shortening. I definitely need a bigger table. I wish I could turn it this way, but we've got a galley kitchen. We can't do that. Then we won't be able to walk in it. Okay. Whoops. Glad that fell inside there and not in there. Here's my shortening. I personally just like to use Crisco. That's what I was raised with. It's got no difference other than I have bought some of the cheap store brand type and some off-brand type, some other brands. And for flavor taste, I personally feel there's a taste in the brand. So once you find a brand, you stick with it. Okay, so that's close enough for me. And it's packed. With shortening, you definitely want to make sure you pack it because it has a lot of air bubbles. And I'm trying not to get my hands sticky, dirty yet. They might, they may not. It just depends. So close that up. Just push that down. Okay. I had to make sure I didn't push too far. Now I knocked. Oh, my oven's ready. I gotta hurry up. Okay, so now I'm just mixing and I'm spreading out with the back of the spoon the shortening so it gets incorporated with all of this in the butter. Okay. Alrighty. Okay, so there's that. I already did there. Now we're going to add our egg. Oh, well, let me get a paper towel because The egg is yucky, and you got to be careful of salmonella when you're dealing with eggs. So I want to make sure I wipe my hand. And let me put the eggshell in here when I'm done with it. And be careful not to get any eggshells in your mix. I always like to go to the side of my pan or bowl, whatever it is that I'm using. Okay, now I'm going to break up my yolk with the back of the spoon. Now I'm going to mix it all up. This is when it's nice to work with a bigger container than you probably need, because you're able to do this a lot easier. Okay, that's good mixing. Next thing is 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Let's get our teaspoon out. Excuse me. 1 teaspoon. Here we are. 1 teaspoon of vanilla. This is my homemade vanilla. If you like, I'll put a link on that also. It's so easy to make. It's just time consuming because it needs to sit for 3 to 6 months, and the longer it sits, the better it tastes. I actually like to have mine sit for a year, a full year before I use it. So I always have a batch of this bacon. Okay, 1 teaspoon of vanilla. And then we're not gonna ad lib, we're not gonna modify the recipe, even though I know I can. It's because I'm trying to do a true apple to apples comparison, okay? I've always wanted to know that, but I've never made the time to do it. Okay, 1 teaspoon vanilla, 1½ cups all-purpose flour, or you can use all wheat flour. So 1½ cups. Here's my ½ a cup. And here's my 1 cup. I don't think we're going to use this today. We might not. I don't know. So 1½ cups of flour. Let's see how much of a mess I make on this stuff. Something spilled right there. And y'all know I tend to be a little bit of a messy cook, but I'm really working at getting better at it, so I'm not so messy. And I'm looking at my time because I got to go to work. But they only take 10 minutes to bake, so I should have plenty of time. And, whoa, I dare. Sure enough, I did. Oh, well. I'm saving up to get my square containers of all my flour and sugar and stuff. That way it'd be easier to get the scoops in and out. And see how I'm just barely going over like that just to make sure it's a level scoop, and it is. Close enough. And close enough for me on that. It's a little bit off, but you know what? Because you work with clean items, you could just scoop it right into your container. And there you go. Oops, where's my scooper? I'm going to keep the correct scooper with the correct container. Okay, that's out of the way. Next thing is 1½ teaspoon of baking soda. 1/2 teaspoon. It's 1/4 baking soda. And I could have just eyeballed it, but like I said, I want to stick true to the recipe. So that's why I'm taking the time to do the actual measurements. Oh, and there's a piece that's kind of hard. You just, there we go. That was the baking soda. 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Ah, Bear with me, I forgot to bring my salt over here. Bear with me in just a few seconds. I'm walking over here to the other side of my big, huge kitchen, which you all can tell is not big. But I'm very happy with our home. Well, we love our home, and we're very pleased with it. Okay, I need how much salt? 1/2 teaspoon. 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And I'm just using granulated non-iodized salt. I mix around between iodized and non-iodized, and I've been doing some reading. So right now I'm on the kick of non-iodized salt. Until somebody comes up with something and says, oh, you're totally fine. Okay, now we're going to mix this up. I'm just double checking my notes and reading. And of course, if you wanted to add some nuts, you can add some nuts, but I'm sticking true to the recipe because the other package doesn't have nuts in it. So I'm not going to add nuts to this. But I personally like nuts. Old pecans, diced up pecans, walnuts, almonds. Okay, so that's mixed up pretty good. Now it says to add 1 package, 6 ounces semi-sweet chocolate chips. And I've got Nestle semi-sweet chocolate chips. I buy my chips in bulk, and then I save them in my jars. That was not vacuum packed. That's just tight because I've already... And I'm just going to eyeball this. I like a lot of chocolate chips, but I don't want to be loaded with chocolate chips. Because you want to get a chocolate chip in every bite of the cookie. And don't forget, scrape to the bottom of your pan or your bowl to make sure that everything gets incorporated. Okay, so that one is incorporated. Let's move this over to the side. Alrighty, now let's get our new bowl for our new ingredients, which I know it asks for water. Okay. So we're gonna, it says to heat your oven at 375 on a non-stick cookie sheet, and we're using our silicone mats on our cookie sheets. You want to stir the cookie mix with the butter and the water in a medium bowl until dough forms, and then you drop them off. And I am going to be using a cookie scooper, 1 for each pan. Oops, I threw that away without realizing how much water I needed. We want 1 stick of butter, which I already have that melted, and I did use my stick butter for both of these recipes for the same pack, exact same type of butter. If you buy them in the box, you get 4 sticks in a box. So there's my butter. It asks for 1 full stick. 1/2 stick, which equals to 1/4 cup. Okay, there's that. And then we're going to use 1 tablespoon of water. 1 tablespoon of water. 1 tablespoon. You know what, let's mix this up. Let's be fair. And let's mix this up step by step like we did the first one. So it mixes really well. Even though it's a wet ingredient, it'd be fine, but we're trying to do everything as equal as possible. Okay, 1 tablespoon. That's the end of that. Oops. Let me close up my chocolate chips, get all my stuff so I can make myself room for my cookie sheets. All that can go in that 1 container. Good to go there. This can go away. That can go away. Okay. I'm trying to make sure I don't drop what's on the other side of my kitchen. Okay, I'm just mixing this up. And I think that's pretty well mixed up together. Okay, so just mix it all up. The cookie makes the soft butter in the water in the medium bowl. Then you drop them off, and then you're going to bake them for 11 to 13 minutes. These other cookies from the Betty Crocker Cookbook say 8 to 10 minutes. So let me just wipe my table. I don't like to get food on the bottom of my cookie sheets. I just don't. It's just a little OCD thing of mine. Okay, let's move this out of the way. And here's one of my cookie sheets. My spoon holder here. And then just drop them off. And I'm only going to do 1 or 2 of these, and the rest I'm going to do off camera, because we'll do the taste test next. So there's 1. There's 2. And there's 3. I'm going to do both cookie sheets, and then we'll bring you back when they're out of the oven, and then we're going to do the taste test. Okay, so we'll bring you back. Okay, we are back. And look, we're going to get a pot holder because these are hot. Not hot, hot, hot. There's my made from scratch cookies. And look, they spread, but they didn't spread a whole lot. And you can see, I'm getting a pot holder. You can see from the indentions of where each cookie laid. Okay, so you can see the spacing on it. And I did pretty much the exact same thing on the store-bought cookies, and look, they all ran. Look at that. But here's what I want to bring to your attention. And I will put a photo of this close up. None of this was on here that says the cookies will spread. And it didn't say lay. Oh, you know what? I take that back. It does say lay drops 2 inches apart. So that was my fault. So forget what I just said. But the Betty Crocker Cookbook doesn't say lay them 2 inches apart. And I'm glad. I just know cookie just kind of spreads a little bit. I just didn't realize it spread this much. But it does say drop by rounded 2 teaspoonfuls 2 inches apart, which I use my little cookie cutter. And that is why they touched each other. But this is still a good save. And the reason is, now number 1, look how thin they are. They are so thin. Look at that. And I filled my entire scooper, the exact amount as those, but look how full those are. Here, there's another one. So you're definitely going to be able to tell which is the store-bought cookie and which is the homemade cookie. So I'm just taking some of this off because you're supposed to let them sit about 2 minutes before you pull them apart. But the biggest thing is, let's do the taste test to see which is actually tastes better. I just want to get these loose. And they won't, I know they won't stick to the silicone. Oh, I got 1 cookie that's solid. But look, it broke. It was so brittle. And I did exactly like the mix said. And the mix does say best by date July 23. So this should be totally fine. So, but let's do the ultimate test, which is the taste test. And let's get a cookie. There we go. Yes, because there's a shortening, it is a little bit greasier, so you've got calories to worry about there, but who knows what's all in here. It's sugar. Who can't mess up with sugar? That's a definite win-win. Okay, now let me get. Oh man, this cookie's just falling apart. See that? Just falling apart. But let's do the taste test. This has got some kind of shortening in it, because you can definitely taste the shortening in it. They must be using shortening powder. It tastes good. This is so crumbly. It's the only reason I don't care for it too much. It is sweet because of the sugar and the flour and the egg and the whole thing. This tastes more like a cookie. And you can actually taste it in your mouth. So, this one is the 2 thumbs up. This one, part of this was my fault for not putting them 2 inches apart, okay? Get yourself a tape measure. I really didn't realize how much 2 inches really is 2 inches. So you'll know where to place them. So that was my fault there. But the part that, even though they're touching, it made one big cookie. This would be a great recipe to make one solid big cookie. Okay, like a heart shape with Valentine coming up. They're so crumbly and they're so thin. And I followed the recipe to the T. It tastes more like a crisp. This is more like a crisp that you can put on top of like some fruit. Like a cobbler. But to me, this is definitely a fail on the taste because it's crumbly. The package is still good until July. This is only February of this year, 2023. So I'm going to call this as a fail for the store-bought cookies and a 2 thumbs up for the made from scratch Betty Crocker chocolate chip cookies. My dear friends, thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you in the next video. Don't forget to hit like, comment, and share. Take care now. And don't forget to share me with your friends. Bye-bye. I'm going to enjoy one more cookie before I go work. Take care now. Bye-bye.